Welcome to the Design Process Workshop. In this video, we'll be giving you an overview of what the Design Process Workshop looks like and what a design process even is. So, why join the Design Process Workshop? Well, if you're curious about working in Fimble, but you don't know where to start, then the Design Process Workshop is for you. Maybe you know exactly what you want to do, or you have a problem you want to solve. Maybe you have an idea in mind, but you don't know what direction to take. Or maybe you don't have an idea at all, but you're interested in learning the equipment. Well, then you're in the right place. The Design Process Workshop is a flexible workshop series where you can take on as much or as little time developing your project. We hold weekly Make, Hack, Create virtual sessions on Mondays from 4:30 to 5:30 where you can stop by, brainstorm, collect feedback, share your progress, and show off your projects with others. It's not required to attend all sessions, but we ask that you attend a session at least when you start your project and when you finish. We will also have scheduled in-person work sessions with Fimble staff, where you can get started making. By attending a Make Hack Create session and meeting with the Fimble staff, you will receive $15 to go towards your project. Some projects can be finished within an hour, while others might need a couple days, but all projects are welcome. While all projects can be different, they all go through some type of design process. So, what are the steps of a design process? We start off with our motivation, then dive into some research on our project, then develop a design, then we execute our design, assess if it works the way we expected it, and then do any improvements. Depending on if we need improvements or not, we might dive back into research or we'll go back and tweak design. As you see, it's not a linear process, and a design process can look different for many individuals. But let's break down these steps a little bit more. Usually, we'll start off with our motivation. Our motivation for our project is why we're doing this project, or in other cases, why or what brings you to the design process workshop. You may find yourself saying that you want to make something, or I saw these earrings online that I would love to recreate. Or maybe you have a problem you want to solve. I want to keep my desk more organized. Or a tool or technique you want to learn. I really want to learn how to woodwork. Or maybe you're not sure and you just want to do something hands on. These are all great motivations to get started in creating a project in the Fimble Maker and Innovation Lab. From there, we can then dive into research. From research, we can ask ourselves and look up what's been done before. We can identify some questions like what materials are used, what they cost, what tools I might need, and what are different ways to approach this. Creating a draft plan is also a great way to help you to start identify additional questions you may not have thought of. When taking a look at our motivation, you can see as you start to think about if there is some earrings you want to make or if you want to keep your desk more organized, you might look online for what earrings have already been created with the tools that are in the space. You might ask yourself what tools we have in the space and how they work. With keeping your desk more organized, you might look into online to see what folks have done in the past. You might say, what are some different ways to approach this that maybe folks haven't done before? With woodworking, you might ask yourself, what are some beginner projects? And if you're not sure where to start, that's why we're here. We're happy to meet with you and brainstorm some ideas that are possible in the space. From research, we can then dive into design. The Fimble staff will give you the tools you need to help you design your own project and start to create a plan. We recommend before meeting with the Fimble staff, do a little bit of research beforehand, even if that means just grabbing some pictures that inspire you or identifying some questions that you have. Once you have your design, you will need to put together a plan. You can start to put together a somewhat finalized plan of your draft if you've made one during your research step. You'll make a clear list of materials, a budget, and start thinking about some clear steps and a timeline for your project. For larger projects, you might ask yourself, why am I doing this or why this way? It helps to look at your project from a different lens. So once you have a finalized draft, are you ready? You will always be ready. At some point, you need to go ahead and stop planning and start doing. Along the way, you're going to make mistakes, things are not going to go as planned, and you might as well just go ahead and get started. You'll identify a lot more questions as you try new things, you'll refine your expectations of how long it will take and how ambitious you are, and you'll learn to experiment with different materials and techniques. So with that, if you feel like you have a great starting place, go ahead and get started. Once you have a design and a starting plan, it's a great time to get feedback, so consider joining a Make Hack Create session during this week. Once you have your design and a starting plan, you are now ready to execute. You will meet in person with a Femble staff member to learn how to use the piece of equipment or any software that you might need. You will also be able to reserve the space and equipment on EMS. Just make sure to select Workshop as a type of project. As you're working on your project, why not document your progress? It's great to be able to show folks how you went through the design execution of your project so that if folks want to do what you have done, they have that resource available. This is not required, but it's a great way of building more of a community. Once your project is complete, you can go ahead and attend a Make Hack Create session to show off your work. You can talk about if anything surprised you or what challenges you faced. It's a great way to inspire others, get feedback, and learn from others' projects. However, if you're making a project that needs to fit or is designed to help folks, you might need to assess or test the results and make sure that it's what you expect. It's also great when assessing to get feedback from others. Once you've assessed your design, you may ask yourself, does it need to be improved? With that, you can go ahead and dive into additional research or go ahead and tweak the design. Otherwise, if you're happy with the results, then you're done. If you find out your project does need to be improved, you might need to dive back into more research or tweak the design, and this can start the process all over again. We know the design process sounds like a lot of work, but it really depends on what you're trying to do. The design process is really good practice in order for you to take on much larger projects, so we'll give it a try. We'll be attaching the design process worksheet, which is a great tool to use in order for you to think out and note down any ideas that you come up with as you're diving into each of these stages. If you're still not sure what you want to do, there's still a lot of resources available for you. You can come to a Make Hack Create session to become inspired. You can check out a ton of resources online, talk to friends, pick out a piece of equipment and ask if we have a tutorial project, or feel free to talk to a staff member. We're happy to meet with you and talk about ideas that you might want to do for your project.